how important it is to know your authority and know the power you have over your life, because when you're in despair, you just forgot who you were.
Yeah. Well, fear paralyzes you. It's that fight or flight. We're given this ability to the fight or flight. It's this reflex in our bodies, right? Naturally built in. I think it's probably been there from the very beginning when our ancestors were running from lions and not trying not to get eaten. So there's a necessity for it that I think is much more valuable probably back then than now. But because it's built into us, we have this ability to trigger ourselves into this fight or flight, right? And so when fear hits us, our bodies don't know the difference between a fear of an illness or a fear of a lion, right? It's fear. And it comes in and locks you up, just like that, locks you up. And you can either run or you can freeze. And our evolution, I think, as human beings has allowed us, these great brains we have, these control centers of our bodies, we have evolved. I believe we have evolved to the point where we can think through with our awareness and our consciousness, overcome this fear frozen dynamic that happens, this fight or flight, and go and be an observer of it and say, I see what's happening. I feel that fear trying to come up.
Can you just say, I see? What did you say?
See it. Right. I see you coming, fear. I've had those moments. It's funny to me because I think what I don't want to do is give the impression that I never have any, bad moments or moments where I actually don't have moments where I'm doubtful, but what's the right word? Moments where I'm shook by something, right? I have moments like that, but what I do in those moments determines how I get through those moments. And what I do in those moments is recognize them as what they are. The tumor that I found in my breast was not in my windpipe, was not in my my bowel system. It wasn't in a place that was going to cause me immediate and emergency level harm, right? It wasn't going to end my life right now. There are things that you experience on a daily basis that may do that, right? This wasn't one of those things. And so when I felt or observed this fear that exists around it, I had to put it in context. I had to put it in perspective and say, let's get some facts straight. You can't do nothing to me right now. You have been here for years, because that's the truth. If you have a tumor the size of the one I found in my breast, that has been growing. That did not just pop up overnight. That has had a track record in your body that you have been unaware of. It's been there and I didn't know it. And I was just fine, right? So I was just fine this whole time without the awareness of it. I'm not going to let the awareness of it all of a sudden spin me into some chaos in my mind that freezes me and stops me from being able to think clearly and have the discernment you're talking about and remember who I am. I'm not going to forget, right? You're not going to get me to forget. And I think I've had enough experiences in my life of things that were much more life-threatening immediately, where I was able to live past them, obviously, and look back and say, you didn't get me. And there's a reason you didn't get me. And I'm still here and I'm going to keep it pushing. And so, what I do in those moments of panic is take a breath. When we talk about breath, as one of the tools of control in our bodies, it is so real and it is so powerful. And we have, examples of it throughout history. You can look back to personal examples you can hear about in text, and you find this more in India probably, but yogis who were able to bring their heartbeat down to the point where people would think they were dead, or bring their breath down to the point that their bodies, their heart rate actually changed, their blood pressure actually diminished. So all these things in our bodies we have control over, and there's a way we have control over them. Breath is one of those ways. So when I start panicking, the first thing I have trained myself to do is take a very deep breath all the way into my abdomen, fill it up, hold it almost until I get lightheaded, and then slowly let it out. And that triggers these autonomic nervous systems, these parasympathetic nervous systems, all the different titles of the systems in our bodies, these routes that our bodies take to do things. You can get some control over them. You can calm yourself down to the point that you can think again. Everything slows down a little bit, because when you're panicking, you're like this and everything's too fast, and you're freaking out in your body and you're sweating, your heartbeat's racing. So you have to stop that process.
Be easy, little homie. Yes.
Calm it down so that the right information can get to you. We are receptors. We're living in a big old battery. This body is a big old battery. It charges up. It receives information. We are magnets. All of that is real energetically. You can figure all that out for yourself. I'm just telling you it's true for me. And because I know that when you block those things, right, you're stopping the magnetic energy. You're stopping things from getting to you. And so if you can just recognize that you're the one doing it, then you can be the one to stop doing it. And when you do that, things become in the moment, because really we're just taking this life moment by moment,
That's
right?
it.
And when we look too far ahead, that panic is too much. I'm going to take it's moment by moment. What can I do right now? What's happening right now? What's the threat right now? What's real right now? And when you can stay in the moment, present right now, you realize you have so many options to determine the next moment. And for me, that's where the majority of my healing, of my bringing into my environment the other options, whether they're treatments or people or energetic work, all the things that I need and have needed over these last 2 years have come to me because I've been able to slow down, calm down, and not let that panic be bigger than me.
Get your vitamin D.